Now this song is a grade 6 group A piece, which means that it has music with it, or you play music to it. Watch music by Jeremy Herman, arranged by Chris Burgess. Have a look at Chris Burgess' video too. He does a really good, excellent. It's true to the demonstration in the Trinity backing tracks, which you'll find. Anyway, SFP means you start very, 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 very quiet, rolling on the floors, and then you count. So this is all in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crash for a minim, crash for a minim. So that's, and crash for a semi-breve, and then that tied, because it's what we call horizontal. See, we read, just a quick recap about how to read. You always read vertically, so from top to bottom, everything in that line of vision, you do boom, ba, crash bass, and then if it's a tied and it's horizontal, then you actually, that's a virtual rest, even though it's in the next bar. So then that's rested for 1, and then hat snare, hat snare, hat snare on the 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, crash, crash, and then you buzz in on the crashes, or just roll in nicely on the crashes, making a consistent, continuous big sound, because we went from very, very quiet to FF, which means fortissimo. So, and because remember the horizontal rule, if it's tied horizontally, you don't play the next one. So yes, you play crash, 3, nothing, do, B, big bass with a big accent bass, and then you get to this bar. This is triplet in the semi-breve, which is triplet in the equivalent of 4 crotchets. And that is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, ba, ba. So it's an area kind of ba, da, da, 1, 2. So 1, 3, 1, 3. And you're just repeating the same bar over and over again until you get to this. A big snare with a bass. Snare bass holds for, that means very loud. Big punchy whackety whack on the snare with the bass. That squiggle means crotchet rest. That brick that sits on top of the line is a minim rest. Then you big crash with a bass. Crash, 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 rest, 3, 4, rest, crash for a minim, and then you, so that gobbles up 2 and 3, and then 4, and then crash, da 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 da, crash with a snare, crash, and then hat snare, and then that's rested because it's in that horizontal rule. And then you crash for 2 and 3, and then 4. I did most of this correct, I think. The demonstration isn't perfect, so please don't get all upset if it's not is it perfect. The point is to play this and to demonstrate it and to learn. But Chris Burgess plays it perfectly. And then you got, this is, don't worry about RAL, it just means it's kind of leads into a kind of softer sound here with the diminuendo. 2 lines diminishing and getting smaller means diminuendo, but it's snare on 1 and 3. 1, D, dun, D, repeat, repeat, repeat. Get smaller until you get to MF from the previous dynamic indicator, which I'm pretty sure was FF. So you calm down here, and it's a nice big bass on the 1 and 3, and hat on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, bass, hat, bass, hat. Pretty simple. Just you sit on that, and then you just do a little roll here. I'm doing a little kind of like a double here. I started with my left, I think, and then I started with my right. but these two lines are the same. And then you got the same bar repeating another time, another time, another time, and then you got the same core bar, the one that you did previous, which is this one, and also bar number 37, but then it's da 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 da, and then you just give these a little bit of color. I'm just using hats. I'm improvising a bit. You can improvise a lot as well, but it's pretty much da da 1 2 and d da 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 da. So 1 2 da d da ba ba da 1 and d 4 1 2 crash, and then that leads into a higher, so that's another crescendo opposite to diminuendo, so it's getting ever bigger until you get to F, which is fortissimo, which means loud. So it's crash, and then you got this, you follow in the horns. If you follow the horns and listen to the track, you can kind of get around it in a nice improvised way. It's a pretty loose interpretive thing, really, because you got a suggestion. So you could say ad lib, you could say develop a little bit, give it a bit of color and energy. So D is ba da 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 da, and just give that a little bit. You can do a bit of a tom. I would crash bass these ba da 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 da, crashed, crash, 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 crashed. Da, da. So give that a nice little stop, punctuate that, that's necessary, and then crash, 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 and then you slow down a little bit here and get a little bit softer, so you can hit a few toms, dum 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 dum, and then maybe 1 2 3 4, and stop there with maybe a crash, maybe a sharp snare, something to punctuate it. And then you are dipping down tempo-wise with that diminuendo. And now we've got hat snare on the 1 2, and on the 2 and as well. 1 da, and this bar repeats 3 times. It's almost the same, except 1 2 and d da da da. And then you're on the hat snare, hat with a bass. Hat bass, hat snare, hat bass, hat snare, boom, bum, boom, snap, bass, snap, bass, snare. I crash bass to this, you know. You, strictly speaking, shouldn't, but I did. I gave it a little bit of a crash there, but it doesn't really matter. I believe it doesn't matter, because it's not structurally impinged. Anyway, more of the same, until you get to this. Burgess does a little bit of a open hat here. 1 2 and rest and 4, and I kind of replicated that because I think it sounds nice, and it's bumped, and then the next, the 2 is rested because it's in the horizontal line. You don't read diagonally. You never read diagonally. There's only 2 rules with reading: vertical, which is up and down, and horizontal. And the tied rule only refers to the next horizontally placed part. If it's not there, then it's a ring through, or in piano it's like a slur or a, but in this case it's 1 2 and rest and 4 and then you do more of the same here, and add in these little splashes and colors. 1 2 and 1 2 and 3 and 4, and getting big with this crescendo marking, and then it's bum da da, and you kind of develop in this idea, but da da. But I'm doing some rolls in between here. Burgess does it as well. Bum da 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 da, and this gets a little bit. It pauses a little bit in terms of tempo. It gets a little bit slower. Bum 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 bum. So 1 and 2, and so I'm rolling around. Not rolling. I'm just thumping the toms, snares, and getting lower until I'm down to the mid floor toms here. And then it's crash big crash. 1. So this is nice and big on the floors, and it's back to FF for the outro. 1, 3 trip. So this is triplet in this time, not the semi-brief, but it's triplet in the minim. So it's triplet in 2 crotchets. 1 da 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 1 da 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 1 da da da, then onto the right, and then I used both techniques. I was leading with my hats here, and now I'm leading with my right hand here, because I'm a natural left-led hat and ride. I play all the metal with my left, whether it's a hat or a ride. So I'm self-taught. I'm learning. So then you got right bass, right snare, basically this beat, but just using the ride, but this time bigger and stronger, and the tempo is at 144 beats per minute. Another repeat, and then you got the same sort of thing. Bum, da, 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 and then I'm rolling around the toms here, trying to give it a bit of drama and energy. Bum, da 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 da. Just that kind of slows down a bit. You'll hear it if you listen to the backing track. And then it's crash bass 4, crash bass 4, crash bass 4, crash, and then repeat that bar. So these 2 bars are the same. Crash and 2 and 3 and 2, 3, 1. And then it stops. You got a crotchet rest there, crotchet rest there. I really encourage you to listen to Chris Berta's video and demonstration that's in your Trinity download book.